that stands for on peut le demander, we can ask it.
Hello everybody! So today's video, shot at school, where is my question? Okay, question of the day. Why did you decide to come to England? This could be a long story, so let's see how short I can manage to make it. In France, we have special sort of schools for after A level, and really you don't get into them right after A level. You have to go to another school to prep for it, so we call those classes préparatoires. It's preparatory school, and in those you prepare for a big exam, and it's a selective competitive exam, so it's not based on, oh, you've done well so you can get in. It's, can you be better than most other people to get in, basically. And if you get into those big schools, so the one I was applying to was the École Normale Supérieure de Lyon, and that was for what we call humanities, basically. If you get into those schools, basically you get a scholarship, you get paid to carry on studying, and when you're done studying your chosen specialty, you become a lecturer and a researcher in that specialty. And mine was first literature and languages, and then I specialized in English. So I tried for that. The first year I sat that exam, you had to be in the 71 top people out of about 5,000 applicants. And I can't remember if it was 130th or 210th or something in that zone. So not enough to get into the second stage of selection, because you get into the 71 top and you get into the second stage, which is a spoken exam instead of written. And in that spoken exam, I can't remember how many places there were, maybe like 30 or something. So I thought, right, I've done it once, I know what it is now, and I know what I've done wrong, so I'll try it again. And I tried it again. And this time, the second time I got 71st, so I was like, yay! And then the small print on my results was saying, oh, by the way, change of quotas, so we're now taking the 70 top people, and you're half a mark behind the 70th person. Sorry, try again if you want. And I was like, no, I'm not trying again this time, because if I try again and you move the boundaries again, then I'm like, what? Because if you do a class prépa, you don't get a diploma at the end of it. You get into the school you wanted to, or you don't. And if you don't, you can go back to uni and then do an extra year to get a degree or something. So by that point, I was like, I've spent 3 years on this, and at the end of those 3 years, I have nothing to show. So I decided to go to uni, do a degree in English in 1 year, which they let me do because they said, you know, the 3 years you've done are the equivalent of the first 2 years of studying at university. And I was really stuck then. Like, I was feeling a bit down, to be fair. I thought, what was the point of that? The learning was amazing. My teachers were amazing. The 3 years were intense. Like, it was so hard work. I was in boarding school, and it was just study, 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 study from Monday morning till Friday evening, every week. And then during the holiday, study, study, study. It was just so hard. And then at the end, you're like, oh, they changed the boundaries. I'm still not getting in. Why? And I wasn't sure what to do for work. I mean, like, job-wise, I knew I didn't want to teach. I knew I didn't want to go into one of these écoles de commerce my friends were getting into. I knew I don't really like interaction, so I thought getting into tourism and dealing with tourists all the time, probably no. I spent some summers working at a campsite, and I was like, it was fine for the summer. It wasn't something I could see myself doing. So stuck. And then one of my lecturers worked for the British Council and said, you've got this opportunity. You could go to England for 9 months and you could work as a language assistant in one of their schools. So you'd basically teach French to British students and help them prep for speaking exam. And it's part-time contract, so you get to work about 14 hours a week, and the rest of the time you're free to immerse yourself in the British culture. And I thought, well, I don't know what to do with myself, so once I've got my degree, I don't know what sort of master's degree I want to do. I don't like closing doors for myself. So I figured, well, that's a good opportunity. It's there. I could put some money aside. I can improve my English. I can buy time. And I can also check for a fact I do not want to be a teacher. Ta-da! And now I'm a teacher. So the rest was history. I turned up, I was in Somerset for my first year. And then I stayed a second year. And then I applied for teacher training. And then I found a job. and I'm here now. I'm still here 8 years later. So that's how I decided to come to England, and I'm really grateful I did. I'm really grateful I failed that exam twice. I'm grateful I did it the second time. I'm grateful I tried it a second time because I wasn't sure I would actually manage to be so much better, and I was. And I'm grateful they moved the boundary so I didn't get into the second stage in the speaking filter of that exam. Because if I had, maybe I would have managed, and then I would have stayed in France, and I would have, in the end, now, after all of that, I think it would have narrowed me down a bit, because, you know, obviously if you're paid to study at that university and then you get a contract and you're kind of stuck there. So at the time I used to think it was brilliant because it's, you know, job safety. You're guaranteed a job and you're guaranteed to be able to study the subjects you love, and I loved languages and I still do. So I was like, this is brilliant. But now that I'm able to pick and choose, and in England you can, you know, you can apply to jobs in the schools you want to, so now I really value that freedom a lot more than I used to. So I'm really grateful for the first failure because it taught me resilience, and it taught me that I could work smarter rather than harder, which is what I did the second time I tried. And I'm grateful for the second failure because, one, to me it wasn't a failure. I told myself I was going to be in the 71 top and I was 71st, so I'm like, I did what I wanted to do. And I'm grateful that it was a failure because the boundaries changed, because otherwise I might have ended up stuck in a system I might not have enjoyed as much as I enjoy my life now. And I'm really, really grateful for that lecturer, because if I hadn't moved to England, there are so many lovely, amazing people I wouldn't have met. And there were so many, so many experiences I wouldn't have lived. So I wouldn't be the person I am today. And after years of like struggling with who I was and wishing I could be different, or wishing I could be someone else, it's been a few years now since I've felt kind of happy with who I am. And yeah, you know, everything that's happened, just like all of us, just built the person I am now, and I've made my peace with that. I'm quite happy with it, and I carry on working towards becoming a better person, so that's really cool. And I don't think that journey would have been the same without moving to England. And also, on a more personal and perhaps irrelevant note, if I hadn't moved to England, I don't think my horse would have had access to a lifestyle where he gets to be out in the field literally every day, and for half the year 24/7 he's out in the field with other horses, and he's got friends around him, and he's able to have like as much haylage as he wants to eat, and he has a proper horse life, which where I was before was really difficult to provide him with. And I found in England it was a bit easier to give him a proper horse life, which has always been my goal as a horse owner. So that's a bonus. That's awesome. So yeah, that's why I moved to England. So yeah, that was it for the question of the day. Don't forget, you can still ask any other questions down in the comments below. They could be a bit like this. I am researching questions I've been asked that require some prep. So someone asked, how old is the French language? That's really hard to answer. So that's going to require research. Somebody asked about tenses and things like that. So on a daily basis, you'll have answers to the questions that don't require any research, and then I'll trickle in the longer, more serious videos, hopefully. And I'm saying hopefully for the daily videos because my voice is starting to die slowly and my nose is getting stuffy, so I'm hoping I will manage to make the whole holiday without becoming mute. So that's it for today. Any comments and questions, put them down below. Like and subscribe if it's not already done. Share out if you think this might interest other people. And thanks for that question. It was really nice, and I like being given the opportunity to reflect a little bit on what's happened so far in my life. So thank you for that opportunity, and I'll see you later. Bye.